Hello and welcome to my living room. If you don't know me, hi, my name is Carrie and I read a book a day to give you the best thriller, mystery, and horror book recommendations. I am coming to you on YouTube with a plan of doing more videos like this, so please let me know in the comments what you're interested in seeing from me, and make sure to like, subscribe, and leave me a comment and turn on post notifications. I have a ton of books that I am looking forward to reading that you guys helped me choose, so let's go over them now. The most popular one was Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier. This is a thriller and it says, Marin had the perfect life, married to her college sweetheart. She owns a chain of upscale hair salons, and Derek runs his own company. They're admired in their community and are a lovely family, until their world falls apart the day their son Sebastian is taken. A year later, Marin is the shadow of herself. The FBI search is gone cold. The publicity has faded. She and her husband rarely speak. She hires a private investigator to pick up where the police left off, but instead of finding Sebastian, the PI learns that Derek is having an affair with a younger woman. This discovery sparks Marin back to life. She's lost her son. She's not about to lose her husband, too. Kenzie Lee is the opposite of Marin. She's an art student in her 20s, a barista who dreams of becoming Instagram famous. She is also penally broke and behind on her bills with crushing financial obligations. And she's Derek's mistress with designs to be much more. To Marin, Kenzie is another enemy, but she's an enemy with a face, which means this is a problem Marin can fix permanently. Then we have Hide and Seek by Andrea Mira. I got my copy in London, but you can get your copy from blackwells.co.uk with free shipping to the US. I'll read the synopsis for you. A child never came home. A game of hide and seek is over, but little Lily Murphy hasn't been found. Her parents try to stay positive, but they know the peaceful Dublin suburb will never be the same again. A house full of secrets. Years later, Joanna moves to a new home. It seems perfect in every way, until she learns that Lily Murphy used to live here. Everyone has something to hide, because Joanna thinks she knows what really happened to Lily, and if the truth gets out, it might be her undoing. Then we have a horror book called Overgrowth by Mira Grant. This is just a story. It can't hurt you anymore. Since she was 3 years old, Anastasia Miller has been telling anyone who would listen that she's an alien disguised as a human being, and that the armada that left her on Earth are coming for her. Since she was 3 years old, no one has been willing to listen. Now, with an alien signal from the stars being broadcast around the world, humanity is finally starting to realize what we've been warned, and it may be too late. The invasion is coming. Dacia's biological family is on the way to bring her home, and very few family reunions are willing to cross the gulf of space for just one misplaced child. What happens when you know what's coming and just refuse to listen? Then we have Dungeon Crawler Carl, and this is the first book in a series. The apocalypse will be televised. You know what's worse than breaking up with your girlfriend? Being stuck with her prize-winning show cat. And you know what's worse than that? An alien invasion, the deconstruction of all man-made structures on Earth, and the systematic exploitation of all the survivors for a sadistic intergalactic game show. That's what. Join Coast Guard vet Carl and his ex-girlfriend's cat, Princess Donut, as they survive the end of the world or just get to the next level in a video game like trap-filled fantasy dungeon. A dungeon that's actually set in the reality of a television show with countless viewers across the galaxy. Exploding goblins, magic potions, deadly drug-dealing llamas. This ain't your ordinary game show. And then we have House of Shadows by Darcy Coates. And this one says, she'll never escape its shadow. Sophie's world is shattered when disaster bankrupts her family. She's reeling when she's offered an unexpected solution. Mr. Argenton, a wealthy stranger, has asked for her hand in marriage. Marrying Mr. Argenton will save her family, but it condemns Sophie to a life in Northwood, a vast and unnaturally dark mansion situated hours from civilization. Still, she has no choice but to accept the offer and hope the darkness won't swallow her whole. It's a struggle to adjust to her new position as mistress over the desolate house. Mr. Argenton's relatives are cold, and the manor is more than it seems. Doors slam, inhuman figures slink through the surrounding forest. A piano plays itself in the middle of the night. Blood drips a macabre warning down the walls. Day by day, Sophie is inevitably pulled toward a terrifying truth. Northwood's ancient halls are haunted, and the man she married, the man she's coming to love, is hiding an unforgivable truth about his ancestral home and the spirits that now haunt them both. And this is the first book in a series. I also have these 3 backup options if I decide I don't want to read one of the books that I have chosen. But Blood Slaves by Marcus Red, and then we have Lucky Day by Chuck Tingle, and then we have Play Nice by J.P. Delaney. Okay, so we've gotten some alien invasion stories, we've got some missing person story. I'm very excited to see which one I like the best, so leave your comments now and let me know which book you predict will be my favorite. For the 24-hour readathon, I will be starting with Hide and Seek by Andrea Mira. Andrea Mira is quickly becoming an auto-read author for me. Her books are so full of messy suburban drama, and I just eat it up every time. Her books are perfect for fans of John Marr's domestic thrillers, except make them Irish. Okay, the first chapter of this book came out swinging and I'm already fully invested. I had to grab my first coffee, but let's get back into reading. Oh, just look how full of energy I was. This version of me was so optimistic that I'd be able to just read on through the night without feeling tired. I was a fool back then. Okay, it's 9 p.m. now. I've been reading for approximately 30 minutes with all of the filming and such going on in the background. But I made it to page 69, which is chapter 11, and I am so enthralled by this book. There are so many dark things happening and a lot of moving parts, and I'm so excited to see where it goes. With the theory swirling around my mind, I was lacking the confidence in my typical ability to catch on to the hints riddled throughout the story. So many people with motives to consider. Would one of my theories pan out? Okay, I've now been reading Hide and Seek by Andrea for 1 hour, and I am on page 132, which is chapter 22, and this is getting so messy and drama filled, and I'm just loving it. There are a lot of characters and I have to keep reminding myself who everybody is, but as I'm reading more, I'm starting to remember who each person is, so I think that it will all click together as I continue. Oh, and I did. I now feel I know these characters, their desires, their lies, their motives, their ruthless nature. And as the pages turned, the deception grew deeper and my hunt for the truth grew more complicated. Just checking in, I've now been reading Hide and Seek by Andrea for an hour and a half. I'm on page 192, chapter 34, and I have so many theories, but I don't think that I'll be correct on any of them. But there's been a death and a lot going on. I'm super invested still. I'm just reading this book, and I gotta say, I love how in Ireland they call police guards. I just think it's so cute. As you can see, I was having the time of my life, and I was fully enthralled into the mystery of what had happened to little Lily and how it connects to Joanna's past. 2-hour reading check-in. I am on page 257, chapter 50. It is 10:45 p.m. I'm about to go get in bed for a little bit and read and just hang out with my husband. A puzzle of earth-shattering revelations just taking over my mind. This book left me breathless and utterly shocked. Okay, I kind of have to whisper because my husband is asleep, but I finished this book in 2 hours and 40 minutes. It completely blew me away. It was so emotionally charged. There was so many layers to it, so much deception and betrayal and messy drama. This was so great. I'm not exactly sure what I'll rate it, but I'll circle back and let you know later. Okay, it's 11:40 at night and I'm starting Overgrowth by Mira. This is an alien invasion horror book. I'm very excited to read this. A lot of people were recommending it, so let's get into it. What a naive girl, slowly coming to the realization that staying awake all night may not be as easy as she once believed it to be. Just enjoying her book as the exhaustion begins rearing its ugly head. Hour in, I'm on page 66. This book is bizarre and quirky, and I am loving the FMC so far. It's a really good book. I'm really excited to see where it goes. I'm also low-key getting tired, and that's kind of a bummer. I did take a nap in preparation for this. I drank a full coffee, so I'm not like rushing to drink another one, but this is going to be rough. And rough it was, as the need for sleep manifested into a raging monster. I fought with great effort to stay locked into a world of an alien invasion and budding new friendships. Okay, I've been reading Overgrowth by Mira for an hour. I'm on page 122. We are counting down to an alien invasion. I would say typically I'm not a big sci-fi reader, but the way this is written is just so intriguing, and like I said before, I just absolutely love the FMC, so I'm having a great time with this. And I also love the LGBTQIA plus rep that's in this book. It's incredible. Who knew a girl like me could come around to a sci-fi horror novel, expanding my horizons and looking past my negative assumptions towards the genre? That is growth, my friends. I'm 181 pages in. I've read for an hour and a half, and the story is progressing slowly, but I think necessarily so. I think that the buildup of everything is intentional, and I'm enjoying the journey. It doesn't feel like it's dragging in any way, and I'm just having a great time. I also have to say that I really enjoy the plant aspect to this alien story. It's so unique, unlike anything I've read before, and I'm definitely interested in other botanical style horror books. So if you have any, please let me know in the comments. My head was pounding, but I was alongside my fictional friend stressing over the looming alien invasion, so I tried my best to ignore my brain trying to escape out my ears. 2-hour mark for Overgrowth by Mira. Grant, I have significantly slowed down my reading pace because my head is absolutely throbbing due to lack of sleep, I assume. So I think I'm going to attempt to take a power nap and maybe take some Advil or something, and hopefully I can get back to this very soon. Okay, so I wasn't able to actually fall asleep, but I did turn off all the lights and close my eyes for like 45 minutes, and I took some Tylenol and it helped a little bit, so I'm just going to get back to reading now. If you're still watching, thank you so much. I love you. And please take a second to tap that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. I'm also on TikTok and Instagram with the same username, both linked in the description. Officially 2.5 hours into Overgrowth, and I'm on page 293. This book is really intense, and I'm really enjoying it. I love how it kind of speaks to how society is currently with the use of the aliens as a metaphor. It's interesting. It has political intrigue, but it's not over the top. It's very interesting, very well written. I still have a bit of a headache, but I'm trucking along. I don't feel very tired anymore, so that's nice. But yeah, just a bit of a headache, so hopefully it'll go away. It's 4 a.m. and I've made myself a little snack, some mango, strawberry, and a little turkey jerky stick. By this point, I was beginning to wonder why so much time was being spent on the build-up to the invasion. I was ready for extraterrestrial chaos and action-packed scenes that would shock me back to life. Officially 3 hours into Overgrowth by Mira Grant, and I'm on page 348. This book is excellent. I am starting to feel like it's getting a little long-winded. I did kind of expect it to ramp up with the action. Not to say it doesn't have action, it does, but I don't know. I just expected it to take off like super fast-paced at a certain point, and it just hasn't completely done that, but I'm still really enjoying it. The invasion was happening. As it progressed, my delirium took over, and I couldn't decide if the book had developed a silly vibe or if my brain interpreted that way due to my withering capacity for sensing the tone. It took me 4 hours to finish this book. I feel like the last 120-ish pages felt kind of silly and almost read like YA. I feel like at a certain point it started just poking fun at itself. I don't know. I'm gonna have to circle back on my thoughts on this, but I didn't love the last 120-ish pages, I have to be honest. I ended up falling asleep for an hour, which I felt I really needed because my head was just really hurting a lot from lack of sleep. But I'm ready to get back to it, and I'm going to start Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier. Jumping into a story of a child kidnapping after a story of intergalactic entities was a weird vibe, but my transition into a detective came on suddenly as I was sucked into Marin's world being turned upside down. 30 minutes into Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier, I have to be honest, I'm struggling. I'm so tired. I had this idea that starting with pulling the all-nighter would make this 24-hour reading challenge easier, but I think that I messed up and that I should have started this in the morning and then did the full day and then pulled the all-nighter. But who knows? But I'm struggling a lot, so I'm reading kind of slow. So I only made it to page 53, which is honestly a lot slower than I usually read, but I'm trucking along. I'm pretty much to the part where I'm just caught up with everything that's in the synopsis. For the most part, I haven't got to one part of it, but still setting the scene, really into it. This book and my desire to sleep were boxing it out, and Sleep Desire was putting its best effort forward to take down its opponent. But the book put up a worthy fight, and it remained on its feet. 1 hour into Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier. I am on page 115, and I'm really curious about how everything that's happening is going to tie with the main character's missing son. It kind of feels like we've strayed away from that, so I'm just wondering how it's all going to tie together. I'm very intrigued. I still do not feel well, but I think I'm going to make myself some toast or something and try to feel better. Maybe take a little break. I'm not sure, but I'm enjoying this and I want to get back to it ASAP. Alone with my thoughts, I couldn't help but feel immersed into the anxiety-filled and obsessive nature of this story. The betrayal was atrocious, and I just wanted to smack Derek and Kenzie over the head with a shoe. Hour and a half into my book, I am feeling a lot better. I made it to page 177, chapter 17. I'm really enjoying this. Still curious how everything's going to tie together, but it's a very easy read. I'm flying through it, even though I was losing momentum there for a second. I'm picking the pace back up. My thoughts and theories tumbled around in my brain as I began picturing fluffy sheep leaping over a fence, one after another. But Marin had gotten herself into a dangerous pickle, and I needed to see it through. 2-hour check-in for Little Secrets. I have about 100 pages left. I'm on page 237, so my plan is just to power through the rest of it and then let you know my thoughts. I finally reached the explanation of everything and how it all came together. Just like that, I was approaching the end of the story and the end of my will to remain awake. I just finished Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier. It took me 2 hours and 45 minutes-ish. I gotta say, I wasn't blown away by that ending. Honestly, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I feel like it was a little bit too rushed and a little bit too tied up in a nice little bow. And I think that maybe the motives were kind of silly. I don't know. I'm going to sit with my thoughts on this, but I was definitely expecting to be completely blown away with this, more so than I was. I think I went into it with too high of expectations, maybe. I still really, really enjoyed this, don't get me wrong, but it was not a 5-star read for me, unfortunately. Okay, I'm using one of my sub-ins now and reading Lucky Day by Chuck Tingle. This publishes on August 12th, and it's pretty short. I think the arc is 230 pages, so I should be able to fly through this, and then I'll read House of Shadows by Darcy Coates after this one. Okay, I've only been reading Lucky Day by Chuck Tingle for 20 minutes, but I'm so exhausted, and I think I need another power nap, followed by a shower and some fresh clothes just to feel refreshed and get more energy. Maybe make another coffee or have a guilty pleasure Red Bull. I'm not sure, but I'll be right back. It is now 12:30. I didn't at all plan to sleep as long as I did, but here we are. I'm refreshed. I'm ready to go. I am getting back into Lucky Day. With my newfound energy, your girl was back with racing speeds, and the story being fast-paced certainly helped move things along. I've been reading for about 30 minutes. I made it to page 67. This one is so absurd and wild. It's very fast-paced. There's a lot going on, and I'm having fun with it. So I'm going to fly through this with no problem at all. Took a second to recharge with a potato-vegetable medley and then got back to following Vera and Agent Lane handle catastrophe. Made it to page 130, and this book is so freaking ridiculous. It reminds me of the vibe of Zombieland or Superbad or The Hangover, just completely and utterly ridiculous. And I keep picturing the FMC as Aubrey Plaza, and it's very interesting. It's unique. I'm not sure how much I'm vibing with it. I'm not sure if I'm in the mood for it, but it is a fun read nonetheless. I just remembered that I need to edit and post a video on TikTok today, so I'm going to do that really quick and then get back to reading. If you ever think you'll be in the mood for something quick that will make you chuckle, is full of queer pride and heart-filled characters, then you should definitely have this book pre-ordered. It took me 1 hour and 35 minutes to finish Lucky Day by Chuck Tingle. You know, when you're looking for just something you can gobble up and you want a sweet treat in book form. Well, I was really in the mood for something like that when I first started reading this book, but then I took a nap, and then I woke up and I wanted something a little bit more decadent, like a chocolate cake of books, if you will. But this book was like M&Ms, and M&Ms are great, but it just wasn't what I wanted. Wasn't the vibe I was looking for. It wasn't that sweet treat that I was looking for. It was still good. It was still entertaining. I'm going to have more clear thoughts later. My mind is still kind of fried from being up all night and taking only very short naps. But this was enjoyable. but I wasn't blown away. Next on the reading queue is House of Shadows by Darcy Coates. This is a haunted house story. It's the first book in a series. It's around 260-ish pages, so I should be able to fly through it, and then we'll see what I'm going to read next depending on how much time I have left. Right away, I was confused by how large the text is in this book. It was just comically huge for an adult novel that it threw me off. Okay, I'm 30 minutes into House of Shadows, and I'm already on page 127. If the characters were not adults, you could absolutely convince me that this is a middle grade book. The text is huge, and it's just a very simple and easy haunted house story. There's nothing special about it so far, and I'm like halfway through, so not really expecting anything super wild to happen at this point. This is a disappointment, I gotta be honest. I will say I really enjoyed how quick of a read this was, and while ultimately it wasn't my taste, I'm always glad I picked up a book to form my own opinion on it. And I always think that if a book sounds good to you, that you should pick it up regardless of my opinion of it. Okay, I finished House of Shadows in just over an hour. This is a very simple read. I don't really have anything positive to say about it, to be perfectly honest. I didn't think there was anything special about it whatsoever. It felt like a middle grade book following adults. There wasn't anything special about the haunting itself. It was fast-paced and easy to read, so I'll give it some points for that. I didn't hate it. I didn't care about anything about it. I also don't like rich people in books, and this definitely has that. This is the first book. There is a second book. I will not be reading the second book. I didn't care for this. Okay, for my next read, I was planning on reading Dungeon Crawler Carl because this was getting a lot of votes on my TikTok where I asked people to help me choose my TBR. But it's 450 pages. I do have about 4.5 hours left, and theoretically I could finish this, but it is 450 pages, and I really don't want to pick up something that long-winded right now. And not to mention, it sounds an awful lot like Lucky Day, which I just read, and I wasn't really in the mood for this, and so I'm feeling like I'm not really going to be in the mood for this either, so I'm going to save this as my next read and instead pick up So Happy Together by Olivia Worley. This is available on Kindle Unlimited. It's more of a domestic thriller with a romance aspect to it, so this is what I'll be reading next. But first, food. Because I decided I didn't want to read 2 books, I'm just far too tired. I theoretically could do it, I just simply didn't want to. I decided to spend an hour cleaning up my house and building my new desk. Look at it! My husband Chance got me this cute desk and I was so eager to set it up. I now have 3.5 hours left in this 24-hour readathon, and so I'm going to pick up my last book, So Happy Together by Olivia Worley. It's available on Kindle Unlimited and I'm very excited about it. I just saw a review on TikTok that was just totally raving about it, and it sounds really good. This book immediately gave bingeable vibes, which worked out for me because I could just taste the finish line for this incredibly tiring reading journey. 30 minutes into So Happy Together by Olivia Worley, I'm at 23%, and right now I'm just having a lot of empathy for the FMC, but I have a feeling that I will soon have zero empathy for her. It's giving stalker, and I'm intrigued. The vibes were immaculate, and I was fully invested and found myself enthralled with the obsessive and delusional nature of the FMC. This man is not her man, but don't try to tell Jane that. Hour into So Happy Together, I made it to 44%, and I'm really into it. It's getting more suspenseful and drama-filled and bloody, and I am so into it. I can't wait to see where it goes. Fully locked in. I don't necessarily need to be shocked to enjoy a thriller, and with this one I only had one theory throughout that held water, so I got tunnel vision and held on to it, hopeful that something out of left field would just smack the wind out of me. I finished So Happy Together in 2 hours, and you guys, I fully guessed the ending. At like 50% I got a theory, and I really thought I was wrong, but I was right, and that's okay. I'm not sure how it's going to affect my rating. I still think it was a good ending, but I'm just bummed that I guessed it because I was really hoping to be like shocked. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for watching my 24-hour readathon. I technically have 1 hour left, but I simply have no more reading left in me. So let's recap everything that I read in the last 24 hours. I started with this Missing Child's Mystery Hide and Seek by Andrea, and this one totally gripped me throughout. I absolutely loved it, and I didn't guess a thing about it. It was twisty and diabolical and just had messy drama, and I was hooked. Then I read this sci-fi alien invasion horror called Overgrowth by Mira, and I thought this one was so unique and quirky, and I enjoyed that it was slow-paced in the beginning, but then as it went on and on, I wanted the pace to pick up, and it just really didn't do that. And then it got a bit cringe by the end and honestly felt like a YA book. Then we have Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier, and this is a missing child's mystery. I wanted to love this more than I did, but I still really enjoyed it. I thought it was twisty, and I really enjoyed all the betrayal and the web of deception that was weaved throughout this story, but I was a bit disappointed in the ending. It just didn't blow me away by any means. I didn't guess it, but it just wasn't something that wowed me. Then there's Lucky Day by Chuck Tingle, and this publishes on August 12th. And I thought this one was camp and really fun and fast-paced and absolutely absurd and ridiculous. It reminded me of like The Hangover or Zombieland, but ultimately I just wasn't in the mood for this type of fun and was kind of hoping for something a little different. House of Shadows by Darcy Coates. This is the first book in a series, or there's only 2 books, I guess. But this one really was nothing special. It's a haunted house story that just didn't stick out to me. It had super big text, so I was able to just fly through it in like an hour 20. But honestly, it read like a middle grade book, even though it had adults and romance, and it just didn't work for me at all, and I didn't care for it. And lastly is So Happy Together by Olivia Worley, and this is available on Kindle Unlimited. This is a obsession story, a stalker story, a romance, a friendship story. It has so much to it. It is very multi-layered, and there's a lot of drama and a lot of bloody obsession. I had a really good time with it, though I did guess the ending at about 50%, and honestly, it kind of hindered the experience for me, even though I did think it was a solid ending. Thank you so much for joining me on this 24-hour readathon. I really appreciate you guys for sticking around until the end. Make sure you subscribe, comment, and like, and turn on post notifications so you know when I put out a new video. I appreciate you all so much, and I hope you all have a lovely day, and see you next time.